Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to This Week in Baseball Finance, where we're going to be discussing my beloved hometown Boston Red Sox, how they made it to the World Series by only spending, well, a little bit more money than everybody else in baseball, and, I've been told we're not going to be actually discussing any baseball at all this week. We're going to be discussing Magic Online Finance. I'm your host, Chaz Andres. As always, we're going to get started with the Magic Online news. Alright, now that my hair has magically fixed itself, we can move on to the biggest story of the day, which, of course, is that the modern market has continued to stumble. It has now been a full month of lowered prices, and people on Reddit and on my Twitter feed have started to get more than a little bit worried about whether or not this slump may be permanent. And it's really hard to blame them. If you look at the MTG Goldfish Market Index for Modern, which is one copy of each Modern staple, you can see that index was at 1,200 tickets back before Guilds of Ravnica was released. It's at just 877 now, which is a fairly big stumble for Magic's most lucrative format. So I've heard some people blaming increased treasure chest EV for this drop, and honestly that idea sounds pretty good on the surface of it. If you take a look at treasure chests now versus treasure chests like a year ago, you're much more likely to get a good card, and quite frankly, Treasure Chest EV probably does explain a little bit of why Modern is cheaper now than it was, say, a year ago. But it doesn't explain the most recent tumble. And you can tell this by looking at some of the individual cards that have been hit the hardest. Take Jace the Mind Sculptor, for example. It was one of the biggest losers in the latest Modern Market bloodbath. It's lost almost half its value since Guilds of Ravnica was released, and in the most recent Treasure Chest update, Jace the Mind Sculptor's drop rate has neither been increased nor decreased, so that card has gone unchanged in the treasure chests, yet the price has dropped by a lot, and that tells me that treasure chests are probably not at fault for this latest price tumble. Let's cut to the chase. There's one question you want me to answer in this segment, which is this: is Arena killing Magic Online? Is the hashtag Arena Apocalypse here? Are people ditching MTGO for Arena? My answer is still no. And that seems a bit odd considering you've probably played more Arena this week than you thought you were going to. I certainly have. You may have even sold MTGO cards in order to pay for gems on Arena. I've also done that. So how can I sit here and say that yes, absolutely Arena is cutting into MTGO, and yet it's not the reason for this latest slump? So first off, I actually think the big sell-off is over. I mean, if you look at the Modern Index this week, especially compared to last week, you can see that prices have more or less bottomed out. Jace didn't lose any more value this week, neither did Liliana of the Veil or Mox Opal or all those other major staples. And if you look at their price charts, they've started to stabilize. Some are ticking up, most are flat. But if you're selling now, regardless of the reason, you're selling at what is likely to be the bottom of the market, and I don't recommend that. Also, the standard market is kind of robust on Magic Online right now. There are plenty of cards gained 5, 6, 7, 8 tickets this week. I mean, if you look at the standard index, it's really doing well. And that wouldn't make sense if people were ditching MTGO for Arena, considering, you can actually play Standard on Arena, you can't play Modern on there, so if you're all ditching MTGO for Arena, wouldn't we be, selling our Teferis and Carnage Tyrants and whatnot and buying gems on Arena? So really what's going on is everybody's attention is everywhere else except on the Modern market on MTGO. People are playing Standard on Magic Online, they're playing Arena, they're playing in drafts, they're playing in FNM, they're just not buying into Modern on Magic Online right now, which is why the prices have dropped more than they usually do, but they have bottomed out and I do expect they will rebound at some point in the future. What I really expect to happen over the next few months is they'll kind of kick around for a bit until January or February when we all get really excited about Modern again and the prices will start to climb because Arena definitely won't have Modern by then. People will need a place to test, and that is what Magic Online is here for. So look, Arena may still eventually kill Magic Online at some point, but it's not going to happen within the next 6 months. You know what will happen within the next 6 months? The Modern market will rebound. Let's move on to gaining ground, where in Standard, our gainer of the week was Carnage Tyrant. It jumped about 9 tickets from 13 up to 22, which is a pretty big gain for a card that was just 9 tickets back in early September. But when you look at the paper price, you can see that Carnage Tyrant's actually been about 20 tickets all year long. So, is this an example of a digital card finally catching up to its paper price? No, it's actually a lot more complicated than that. See, Carnage Tyrant is really good against Golgari midrange. And conveniently, it's also really good in Golgari midrange as kind of a mirror breaker. So, because Golgari midrange is the best deck in the format right now, you can expect to see Carnage Tyrant start to see a lot more play. Because of that, I actually don't think it's done growing. The price chart is still sort of pointing up. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 25, even 30 tickets by the end of next week. Let's move on to Modern, where the card that gained the most ground this week was Arclight Phoenix. Gained about 11 tickets, more than tripling from 4 all the way up to 15, which is a really big gain. And yeah, I know that Arclight Phoenix is technically a standard card, but look, the reason why it gained value was not due to any standard deck. It gained value because of Runaway Red, the hot new deck in Modern. So I actually really like Runaway Red. I think the deck has a lot of promise, but I'm not sure that a standard legal card, a card in a set that's still being opened, can sustain a 15 ticket price tag unless it also sees play in a standard deck. At the very least, I consider investing in some of Runaway Red deck's other staples over Arclight Phoenix if you're looking to buy in. For example, Bedlam Reveler strikes me as a particularly good target right now. It's from a small, under-opened set, it's only about 3 tickets at the moment, and it was up as high as 6 tickets back when Mardu Pyromancer was at its peak, so I see no reason why it can't at least get back to there if Runaway Red sees a lot of play. I'm buying Bedlam Reveler. Let's move on to our biggest loser. We're in Standard, it was actually Doom Whisperer, dropping about 4 tickets from 14 down to 10. Yeah, I'm sorry about this one, gang. I really thought this was going to be one of the key mythics and guilds of Ravnica straight away, and it's just not seeing play in those Golgari decks right now, mostly because it's not really all that good in the mirror. So that's the problem with it at the moment, and I still expect this card to see some significant time over the 20 ticket mark at some point during its time in Standard. You still have a couple of years left to get your money's worth out of this one, but I don't see it coming in the next couple of weeks, not unless the metagame shifts in weird and unexpected ways. Honestly, right now, it seems kind of stuck at this 10 ticket price mark. It's been there for a few days. I don't think it's going to either go up in value or lose any more value unless something different happens to the meta. Let's head over to Modern, where the biggest loser this week was Cavern of Souls, dropping about 4 tickets from 21 down to 17. This is a slightly odd one because while the entire rest of the Modern market dropped in price when Guilds of Ravnica came out, Cavern of Souls actually went up in price. This price drop is actually just it returning to the price where it was back when Guilds came out. It was 17 tickets then, it's 17 tickets now, so I don't know. I think this is the bottom. It doesn't seem to be dropping any further, so you can buy these if you want. You can sell them if you have to. I don't expect it to make any more major moves, either up or down, over the next couple of days. As always, we're going to end the week by taking a look at the MTGOTraders sales data over the past 7 days. And this gives us a really good idea about which cards are selling the best right now, regardless of price increases or decreases. If you look at overall sales by volume, it's pretty close to a mirror image of last week. The Shocklands are still doing incredibly well. Steam Vents is still the best-selling card overall of any rarity, with cards like Overgrown Tomb and Sacred Foundry right behind it. You've also got cards like Risk Factor and Assassin's Trophy selling really well. If you want to look for risers from last week, take a look at cards like Deafening Clarion and Find Finality. These role players are starting to see more play in their respective decks, and thus demand is increasing for them as well. Moving on to overall sales by price, the number 1 and number 2 cards still haven't changed. It's still Assassin's Trophy and Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, at the very top of that list. But once you look down a little bit further, you can see Vivian, Reed, and Carnage Tyrant sneaking into that top 5, and this showcases the power and demand of that Golgari mid-range list. As for Modern, well, The market may have bottomed out, it may have stabilized, but demand still hasn't increased. It is still standards world here on these price charts. That's all I got for you this week. I'm Chaz Andres. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next Monday morning for another episode of This Week in Magic Online Finance.
Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this, and make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGOTraders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGOTraders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.